What's up, y'all? It's Rose Gold Empathy, and welcome to the 5th episode and season finale of the first season of the Roses with Empathy podcast. Dang, that was a mouthful. All right, today, y'all, we finna talk all about cheating. Dun, dun, dun. I'm gonna explore questions of what is cheating exactly, and is there a difference between emotional and physical cheating, and is cheating ever justified, and are we naturally inclined to cheat? Do men or women cheat more, and all of that good stuff. So this episode is going to be jam-packed with gems and knowledge bombs, and I really hope y'all are ready to open up your hearts and minds and souls with me. So yeah, but before we get started, if you don't mind, please follow me on Instagram at _rosegoldempathy. So this is my official page where all of my other outlets such as YouTube, SoundCloud, and Amazon are linked. My link tree is in my bio as well, so I hope everything is easily accessible for y'all and you can keep up with me. So again, that's at _rosegoldempathy. So before we hop right into it, I'm gonna grab some water, and when we come back, it's on like Donkey Kong. Rose Gold. Ooh, baby, I swear I like you so eternally. When I look into your eyes, I see what's been hurting me. Trust issues, like am I getting what I deserve to see? Life is hard, sometimes it hurts to be. But really, baby, I just wanna be your baby. Maybe be your boo or your honey, that's cool too. Just wanna take a walk, 2:30, baby. Is you feeling me like how I'm feeling you? Alright, welcome back, y'all. So the song you was just listening to is called Fantasy, and it's by me, Rose Gold Empathy. I chose this song for the break because it has a sort of, romantic vibe to it, and normally my music is really political, so it's nice to switch it up a little bit. So if you like what you hear and you want to keep up with my music, you can follow me on SoundCloud at Rose Gold Empathy. I also have select EPs and singles on YouTube at Rose Gold Empathy as well, so thanks so much for your support, Rose Gold. Alright, welcome back, y'all. So, you know what time it is. Time to sit back and speak on a few things. Ain't a thing change, Alright, for real. So, what does it mean to cheat? What is cheating? So, this is a big question, and I think the answers to it are even bigger, low-key. So, it seems that, a lot of people have different views on what exactly the parameters are for an act to be considered, cheating or infidelity or something like this. Though I think that the general consensus is that cheating at its core is really all about betrayal of trust. And where things get sort of murky and muddy, though, is, what exactly is capable of being an act of betrayal of trust. You know what I mean? So it seems generally that there are two major categories a society has sort of created in an attempt to better characterize cheating, I would say. So firstly, we have physical actions like hugging, kissing, and of course sex itself and all of that sort of physical actions. Next, we have this sort of, emotionally or mentally based action, something like talking, but flirting verbally or something like this. It's very unclear exactly what it is to cheat emotionally. But the difference is that it's less physical, and it's more so the way you make someone feel, always being that shoulder to lean on and not being there for your partner the same way you are for them. And I guess something to this tune, right? Now, some people think that the first type of cheating is actually the only form of cheating, and anything else is just sort of inappropriate but not truly crossing any boundaries. On the other hand, there are people who feel the second type is a very large aspect of cheating when it comes to, for example, the way women cheat versus the way men cheat and vice versa. Me personally, I think it all just depends on the boundary set by the participants of the relationship. Maybe I consider text with sort of flirty emojis to be cheating, and someone else might say, well, how do you know which emoji has an inside meaning or not? Because, we misuse emojis all the time. We use the crying emoji to show that we are laughing, and we use the high five emojis to say that we're praying, right? And I think that's a good point, but I also feel like how others view cheating is less important than how, my partner and I view cheating. We can have separate views as friends, but if I'm trying to make you mine, then we have to be on the same page. And so the same can be said for love languages and other compatibility stuff like that. And to be honest, I think this is where a lot of the mistakes that lead to cheating come from in the first place. Like, we aren't getting to know who we want to be with before being with them. Like, it's all such a rush. And trust me, I've been caught up in that infatuation and just utter like obsession with the lover. And it's just so much better to be well informed and just let stuff sort of simmer before rushing to put a title or commit to anything. And, that's an entirely different discussion, but it ties into this greater point of like, you need to be with someone who has the same views on cheating as you do, or else you can expect to be cheated on. And, this seems so simple, but I think it's so easy for like, how we feel and what we want and what we need to get lost in translation. And I mean, that goes back to a greater point of like just how important it is to know who you're dealing with, because energies are not something to play with, y'all. But let's circle back really quickly and ask again, what is cheating? So this definition isn't set in stone by any means, but I do want to put one out there just for the purpose of today's episode. So from my point of view, you feel me, cheating is best defined as going outside of these sort of set boundaries of your relationship with your significant other. And when you start when you go outside of these boundaries, maybe you're looking for something that's sort of romantic or sexual or emotional, like some sort of intimate interaction that's not from your partner. So does that seem on point, y'all? Let me know. Cool. So, all right, y'all, let's take a moment to digest and sit on this working definition of cheating. And, let's take a little break and we'll be right back. Let's go. All right, y'all. So I did want to remind y'all that my debut poetry book, Caffeinated Rumination, is out now on Amazon and Kindle. So if you want a direct link, you can follow me on Instagram at _rosegoldempathy, or even easier, you can go on Amazon.com right now and search up Caffeinated Rumination. Thank you. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the season finale of the first season of the Roses with Empathy podcast. We left off discussing the definition of cheating, and we sort of agreed that basically it's stepping out on your partner for things that would be sort of inappropriate if your partner knew about them, right? So we also established that maybe there's two different types of cheating, such as emotional and physical. Cool. So with that being said, let's continue with this questioning of whether cheating is ever justified. So maybe some of you have this idea that we can sort of, imagine a scenario in which a woman is in some sort of unfulfilling or maybe even abusive relationship with someone. And maybe she's too afraid to lead a relationship on her own accord because maybe there's a potential for violence or something like this. So she cheats on her partner. Now, there is about half of you that would say she's in the wrong no matter what. She should have just let her partner know before having her needs met somewhere else and all of that. And another almost half of y'all might say something like, nah, it's cool because, she was in a bad relationship and she had no real choice. And, she made the best of the situation. Life gave her lemons. She made lemonade, yada, yada, yada. So with that on the table, what do I think? Well, I think myself, along with a small other percentage, might think, first of all, there's a difference between something being understandable and justifiable. So to be, understandable to me means to be like comprehensible. That is, to be capable of being understood. On the other hand, though, justifiable stuff sort of needs a justification. And a justification is like a basis for being just, right? So let me make it more clear with a different example. So maybe someone cuts you off in traffic and you think, I'm upset, but maybe this person's in a rush and let me just chill out and not spaz on them. Maybe you think like, what they did is justifiable if it is the case that they were in a rush because they had like an emergency or something, right? Wrong. See, to my mind, this occurrence is just understandable. Like, I can comprehend why this person did this, but the justification for it will probably fail when you think of social norms and morality and the laws that govern society, right? Like, maybe there's someone else who also has an emergency and wants to rush, but they're still not cutting people off in traffic. So it seems like their action isn't justifiable, but merely understandable. But to be honest though, even to my own view, I can imagine a counter of like, sometimes rules need to be broken for the greater good and stuff like that. So I think overall it's just a very deep topic with sort of endless routes, in my eyes. So I think in the case of the woman who stepped out, her cheating was understandable. She had herself in a bad spot and she had to do what she had to do or whatever, but I don't think that it's justifiable per se. And then again, I don't think that we're even obligated to stay with anyone for any reason. Like, we have just sort of created this norm of expectations. Like, it's so wrong that you did this to me and I didn't do this to you. Like, yeah, it hurts. And I've had plenty of people walk out of my life without a word. And yeah, it hurts so bad, but they are free to do what they want. And what can I do about it but forgive myself for letting that energy into my life, forgive them for producing that energy in my life, and just move on. Like, it sounds so simple, and it is, but it's just not easy. And that's, where I'm coming from on that sort of note. And I think while, okay, there's no obligation, there is sort of this general head nod in the direction of people who are mature and care about others people's feelings are going to give you a heads up and provide some sort of closure of some sort. But I don't think that's something we can regulate it the way we try to do it now. We got to change that. But hey, that's just my view. It's a bit controversial. So now let's sort of change gears a little bit and look into sort of whether we are naturally inclined to cheat. Now, I don't want to get too much into the broader discussion of whether polygamy is sort of morally justifiable or right or anything like this, because stuff like that deserves its own sort of episode and maybe even a season, who knows. However, I will sort of touch on it a little bit, as I think it sort of helps the discussion of whether we're naturally inclined to cheat. And mind you, cheating, it seems to me cheating is sort of a construction initially made for monogamous relationships. It seems like monogamous relationships have these sort of boundaries where it says you can't do this with another person, but compared to polygamy at least. But, it does seem plausible that one can cheat in a poly relationship too. So I'm not trying to say anything that I don't mean. But the common argument is that men are sort of hardwired to cheat due to their sort of primal instincts or something like this. And basically, because of their reproductive contribution, they need to release several times. And usually this conflicts with the boundaries of a faithful relationship because, their partner is not always as willing to be released into as often as they want to release. And hey, our parents around, come on, y'all, let's normalize talking about these things, because a lot of us aren't educated anyways, and that's why we are where we are in life now. So don't be scared, don't gasp, it's normal, it's safe here. But with this being said, my immediate counter to this idea is that it's one thing to have an impulse to do something and another to actually act on the impulse. So of course, cheating is something we constructed as a result of our creation of monogamous relationships, for example. Then it seems like it can't be inherent to us because it came after us. Does that make sense? I can't say cheating is natural to me because it wasn't established prior to the existence of humans and therefore relationships, you feel me? So I think it seems odd to say that we're naturally inclined to cheat. Rather, I think that we maybe have an impulse to engage with multiple people. Maybe we're all just attention seekers, but that is not to say that our engagement with these people needs to happen while we're in a already committed relationship. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about being naturally inclined. I think it doesn't make sense to say that, but just to say that, hey, maybe we do have these impulses to sort of interact with other people. And it just so happens to be that when we have this impulse, we're in a relationship. But that don't mean it's just to act on that impulse. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. And so I think even more this sort of idea that maybe men are more wired or more naturally inclined to cheat is sort of, it feeds into this rhetoric of men cheat more because it's just natural to them. You can't blame them for it. And I think it takes that sort of responsibility and accountability away from people that need to be accountable. Okay, if you don't care if you're cheated on or you think cheating should be a non-factor, be with somebody who feels the same way about you. Don't be with someone who holds monogamy and, being faithful to such a high standard, and then be like, well, you can't be mad at me, it's just natural to me, I just do this, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. So I think instead, like, it's better to just say, like, it's not a matter of what is intrinsic to us, because it doesn't seem like it can be sort of proven that it's intrinsic to us to cheat because of what I just said. But that's my own view, and I'm willing to, like, hear other views, definitely. But I just think it's a better approach to sort of to be like, it's not about who cheats more, it's about what is cheating in this relationship. Is this considered cheating to both me and my partner? If cheating does occur, what does this say about how I got to know this person? Was I really paying attention? And, like, do I think cheating is bad because I genuinely think it's bad, or because I've been conditioned to think that? Like, these are all things we need to question and ask ourselves before having this sort of hostility in our hearts and things like that. And now for me, like, I've been cheated on before, and it's sort of one of those things where it can be mind-blowing if you have this sort of expectation in your mind, which I don't think you should settle on. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm a big questioner, and so I like to question sort of my beliefs a lot. So if I tell myself, like, wow, this is so unbelievable that, this person cheated on me, and, like, I would never do this, and their cheating is never justifiable, it's not even understandable to me, like, this is bad. Who's to say that, like, it was my own, like, ignorance all along that didn't lead me to see that, like, we weren't on the same page to begin with. Like, they were telling me that they were cheating on me, and I was ignoring it. And that's not to victim blame, because it's just to say, like, it's things that we can question. Like, maybe had I been on a different page and took more accountability for, who I let into my life, I wouldn't have ended up here. So I forgive myself. And it's wrong that they did that. I didn't tell them to cheat. I didn't give them the go and say, cheat on me. So it's both sides to it. So I don't want you guys to take this as victim blaming. It's just accountability and being aware, that clarity of, why do we do what we do? Why do I do what I do? Why do I feel the way I feel? I think is a better way to approach things than to think like, okay, he's a man, his cheating's justified, he's naturally to do it. Or she's a woman, she's never going to cheat in a physical way, only emotionally. Like, all of these sort of stereotypical generalized comments, I feel like don't do nearly as much work as sitting down and getting the nitty gritty of, like, who am I? What am I doing? What is this? What is that? You know what I mean? So I'm also a philosophy major, y'all. So these question things is really, like, something I do, but I generally think, like, maybe all of us can adopt this policy and maybe not ask as many questions, but some of them at least, to get the ball rolling. So with that being said, y'all, we're out of time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the season finale of the first season of the Roses with Empathy podcast. In this season, we discussed relationships. We started off with talking about things like, who is Rose Gold Empathy? What is the Roses with Empathy podcast? Then we talked about love versus trust in episode 2. Then in episode 3, we sort of talked about unconditional love and what it means to have love without bounds. And episode 4, we're talking about what ruins relationships and how can we prevent our relationships from being ruined. And to end it all, we talking about cheating, to cheat or not to cheat. What is cheating? Is it justifiable? Who cheats more? And all of that. So the next season is scheduled to air soon. I'm not going to drop a date because, I love the suspension. But I do want to thank all of y'all so much. I want to thank to the people that encouraged me to keep going, that gave me these topics, that are tuned in with me every day. And I'm looking forward to more seasons as we go. So thank you so much. I'm going to see y'all again next season. Rose Gold Empathy. You can follow me on Instagram at _Rose Gold Empathy. All right, Roses, stay empathetic, stay up, stay safe, preserve yourself, and don't forget that the power is in you, and if you want something to change, you got to be the change first.
Ooh, I'm so into you. Hope you be seeing me like how I be seeing you. Brown skin, sun kissed, I don't know what to do.
This is heaven, my heart just skipped a beat or two. Even worse, I be missing you like how I miss the truth. I don't wanna hurt you, I don't wanna get hurt too. Baby, forget the rabbit hole. Let's ride into our truth. Let's start our own rule, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, baby, I swear I like you so eternally. When I look into your eyes, I see what's been hurting me. Trust issues like, am I getting what I deserve to see? Life is hard, sometimes it hurts to be. But really, baby, I just wanna be your baby. Maybe be a boo or your honey, that's cool too. Just wanna take a walk 2:30. Baby, is you feeling me like how I'm feeling you, yeah? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know I did a few ones wrong in my past, right? But at the same time, I called first last night. I'm not a dog, I just got more bite than bark. If you give it to me, baby, promise I'ma keep your heart. Never tear you apart, baby. Come be my work of art, come be my muse. When I'm with you, I know what to do, yeah. We gon' help each other find the truth. We gon' be the truth for true, you and me. We be complete, yeah, baby.